vibes alone, drinking on good vibes alone, jamming on good vibes alone. We don't need no haters to come, we don't keep them around. Love up and friends all around, that's how you know we good. Trust me, we good, we good, we good. Everything good over here. Trust me, we good over here. Trust me, we good, we good, we good. Everything good over here. Trust me, we good over here. Yeah. I know I done mash up and drunk cause I done lose me count.
Usually start with lightweight steel that's used in construction. They can be found at any hardware store. And the one that we are making today would be this one. It's one of the pieces from my troupe for this year. It's a section called Les Papillons, the butterfly. So it usually starts with choosing the length and making the shape, which would involve again the straining wire, and then of course it would be attached at the point. And once that's done, different ways it can be done. Some mask makers enlist the assistance of welders, but I was taught to do wire bending and all stuff the old-fashioned way. So this is just a shortcut, but you know, we can use hot glue. There's tape. There's also contact cement. And the builder I learned from, that's how he showed me how to do stuff with that. So once the center of it is properly secured, and you have to be careful because yeah, you can get lots of glue gun burn. So it's not for the weak-hearted, because it's a bit of a process. But once the shape is chosen, then you actually start connecting it bit by bit. And it would mean, because this has a shape with a curve as well as the antenna for the butterfly, it means then that the wires are being bent just to form that shape, which is giving this archway, and it would be attached here via the same process. And then once it's complete, then we begin the painstaking process of covering it. And this was one that I have started already. It's already been covered with the base material, including the straps already, so you don't have to put them on afterwards. And most of the times, as it's carnival, you know, ladies have their fantastic hairdos on parade day. So we tend to give an extra strap to accommodate for all the glorious hairdos. As you can see, it's wrapped with fabric, so it provides a bit of a padding, because to just put the designs on the raw wire, one, it doesn't leave for much of a base, as well as pretty much real estate to decorate, as well as it tends, depending on how they're made, your revelers tend to end up getting bruised halfway through the parade and taking off their costumes, which is what you don't want, especially when you're passing a judging point. So once we've completed all of this, then the process of decorating begins. Everything is a little time consuming, but for me it's a labor of love, and it's my job, so I really don't look at it as work. So this is what I do pretty much every day from now until December. My home is literally my workspace. Once the pieces have been cut, and it doesn't matter if you have too long of a piece, you just cut off the excess that you don't need. And then of course, you know, you take your time gluing on the pieces. Sometimes it gets a little frustrating because you either get burned or it sticks on the wrong side of it and you have to pull it off and start again. But it's always best to take your time, and it's always good to sometimes have a sketch beforehand. Sometimes, well, more now, I've actually had to, you know, sketch my pieces. There's some of them that actually come to me just when I sit down to work, but it makes life a little easier when there is something to look at on paper. So I do my own sketching. We don't need no bad vibes around. So that's one side done. And I usually like to work on one side of something first and then go to the other, instead of back and forth. Kind of almost like if you've ever gone into one of the factories, this work sometimes is comparable to an assembly line. Like at carnival time, we would have one person, if we weren't doing these now and we were doing them in December, and the rest of the work team were here, one person would be bending the wires, namely me. Someone else would be responsible for covering them, and once they've covered them, then they pass them on to another person to trim them. And this is what this is called. It's actually called trimming, the decorating of the pieces. And then once all of the smaller trimmings are on, then begins the process of putting on all the gems. It's a lot of hot glue, a lot of hard work sometimes, sleepless nights. But then of course the glue, as it's cooling and it gets caught on your fingers, it stretches. So if you can, wear gloves if you're comfortable in them. Wear an apron so that sometimes the glue would end up, falling on your skin. And more importantly, just as my cutter fell, keep those things out of the way. So sometimes it's better that some days we actually have a tent outside and sit outside and work. One, it's cooler, and two, there's nothing else in the way. But that usually happens when everybody else comes in as it gets closer to carnival. Also, some of the materials are found right here in our local stores. Sonia Cara, Astafan, the hardware stores, TDC, Builders Paradise, Asal Horsford. And the stuff that isn't found here, of course, then we have to import them either out of the US or further beyond. Out of China, out of India, Indonesia, Thailand. Just depending on what you're looking for. But there are now a lot of companies popping up in New York, and of course there are companies in Trinidad that you can get stuff from as well. But everything pretty much boils down to pricing.
Money don't pay, we money don't pay. Tell them don't disturb we, let we do it, ting. Let we do it, ting. Let we do it, ting. We don't need no bad vibes around. It's good vibes alone, drinking and good vibes alone, jamming and good vibes alone. We don't need no haters to come, we don't keep them around. Love up and friends all around, that's how you know we good. Trust me, we good. Everything good over here. Trust me, we good over here. Trust me, we good. Everything good over here. Trust me, we good over here.
So now we're going to start decorating with the rhinestones. I've chosen, these are some of the prettiest stones that everybody likes because they're iridescent and they pick up the lights and all the colors that you really want when you have costumes on the road, which is what also, entices persons to choose their sections based on the types of stones that they see, the colors. Of course, if their friends are going to come to play mass in the same band. We have another thing to be careful with is when you're working with the rhinestones, make sure you have everything right where you need it, because when you don't, you have to stop like I have to right now and go and look for it. And in some cases, oh, I'm lucky, found the ones I wanted. Sometimes they're not right there and other times they are, but yes, the rhinestones require a lot of storage, so you end up having containers all over the place. Normally it's that they're all in their separate jars because it makes life easier in trying to find them. So, and if you've stuck something on, be very careful when taking it off because you can damage the rhinestone, and once you do that, then it's no longer viable to use. And if you don't want to pull it off, there's also the use of the heat guns. Again, can be found at hardware and automotive stores.
Money don't pay, pay, pay. We money don't pay. Tell them don't disturb we, let we do it, ting, ting, ting. Let we do it, ting, ting, ting. Let we do it, ting. We don't need no bad vibes around. It's good vibes alone. Drinking and good vibes alone. Jamming and good vibes alone. We don't need no haters to come. We don't keep them around. Love up and friends all around. That's how you know we good. Trust me, we good, we good, we good. Everything good.
We have just opened up registration this week because we finally launched the last costumes on Monday evening. But I have my regulars who've already, since they saw my first section in September, when we launched on the Monday, which was used to celebrate National Heroes Day. We launched it at Vibes Beach Bar. My regulars have already signed up, so we usually cater for about 100 persons, so that's what we're hoping that, we're not a big band, and simply because, everything's made here, even though our numbers have been larger, and if it does happen that we have a larger registration, of course, then we have to cater to what the masses want. And, I move around on parade day as one of the roaming bartenders, check in to make sure everybody's all right. If some rhinestones fall off of someone's costume, we can actually go to the trailer. There's a kit there that we have a repair kit. Anything that I usually do that so that I can move around. When you have a band with 300-400 people, for me, it's about the quality and the experience. And if somebody is not comfortable in something, so we also, that's one of the reasons why I like to be flexible and have a smaller group. Because some of the times, some of our mass players are not a size 2, they're not a size 6, and they may want something different than what's offered. And as long as we can do it, we will. We offer customization to suit your requirements. Like one of my revelers, she is very blessed on the bust area, and she likes to have a particular style of bra. So we create that specifically for her. So nobody else has that costume. So even though you're in the same colors and the gems and everything else is the same, it's still a little personal to you because your outfit is a little different. This year our theme is called Evolution. As everything evolves to form something new. And ever since I was a child, I actually used to keep caterpillars in bottles until they were ready to hatch to have butterflies. And it's one of my favorite things, actually, favorite creatures. And that's how our theme started evolving with the butterflies. So that's our first section called Les Papillons. And our second section is called Firebirds. It's a play on the phoenix. It's a mythical creature that it regenerates from its ashes, it burns up, and it also brings back new life every time. And our last segment is called Mystique. It is a tribute to bringing tribute to my eldest son, Dimitri, who is on the autism spectrum. And as well as I chose the name Mystique because I am an X-Men junkie, and it's also pretty scientific when you look at all of the things involved with diagnosing children who are autistic and working with them. And to me, I thought of what better way to bring some awareness during carnival time, especially now that we have an autism center that has been opened quite recently on the subject. Because a lot of the times, parents whose kids are autistic don't want to take their children out in the public because, people who don't know think your child is being rude if they have a slight meltdown. So that section is a tribute to them. And the name Mystique, I like X-Men. I'm an X-Men junkie, and she was one of my favorite characters in the X-Men movie. In the sections, our male sections, any male costume is $800 EC. The section Firebirds, the female costume, which comes with a 2-piece and a 1-piece option, whether it's a high waist, a bikini, or for those more risky ladies that like the thongs, that costume is $900 EC. The Mystique section is, again, the male is $800. The female costumes are $1,200. It comes with a monokini style bath suit and a 2-piece, which will be rolled out quite shortly. And the Butterfly Le Papillon, which is our frontline section, that is $1,500. Again, you have an option of a 2-piece or a 1-piece. Our mass camp is located in Greenlands, number 2 Park Lane, West Greenlands, or if anybody doesn't know, you can always ask anybody if they know where EK lives or where the mass camp is, because he's the more popular side of DFX and Real Right Entertainment, or via social media or Facebook page. We answer our messages in record time. Our mobile numbers 669-7417 or 760-2083. And like I said, the mass camp is pretty much open from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. daily, and then we close for a bit and open back up in the evenings to do work, and so they can always pop by at any time.
We don't need no bad vibes around. It's good vibes alone. Drinking and good vibes alone. Jamming and good vibes alone. We don't need no haters to come. We don't keep them around. Love up and friends all around. That's how you know we good. Trust me, we good, we good, we good. Everything good over here. Trust me, we good over here. Trust me, we good, we good, we good. Everything good over here. Trust me, we good over here. I know I done mash up and drunk as I done lose me count. My friend them done turn up, it look like they drink the same amount. Love this good life I live in with no regrets at all. Everything good over here. Tell them that we out there and money done pay, baby. Money done pay, baby. We money done pay. Tell them don't disturb we, let we do it, ting. Let we do it, ting. Let we do it, ting. We don't need no bad vibes around. It's good vibes alone. Drinking and good vibes alone. Jamming and good vibes alone. We don't need no haters to come in. Don't keep them around. Love up and friends all around. That's how you know we good. Trust me, we good, we good, we good. Everything good over here. Trust me, we good over here. Trust me, we good, we good, we good. Everything good over here. Trust me, we good over here. In every party I have me drink up. Woman and rum and looking is woman and rum, yeah. It's only one life I have to live up. Can't let them take that from me.